Hello again, fellow audiophiles. I am Wave Theory, and on my head is the Koss KPH30i wireless, an approximately $60 Bluetooth wireless on-ear dynamic driver headphone. This was sent to me directly from Koss for review. They have asked nothing in return other than a fair and honest evaluation, which you are about to receive. Also, I don't think they're going to want them back because I took these to the gym and got them all sweaty, so you're probably going to want to leave them here. Anyway, the links that you will see down in the description where you can buy these from Amazon will be an affiliate link. If you like what I have to say about this product and you want to buy it, please consider using that affiliate link. I will get a small kickback if you do, and that helps me keep the channel running. Koss was also very gracious and sent me the KPH30i wired version for review, which is a legend in our hobby. So I also talk about this one in the course of this review. It's only $30, and I talk about how the sonics of both the wired and the wireless compare, comfort, and all of that. So, to learn about all of those things, stick around right after shameless self-promotion.
Hi, it's me again, 14 months later and a whole foot taller. Now, since Wave Theory liked the first 10,000 subscriber play button I made him, maybe he wants a 25,000 subscriber play button. This can only happen if you subscribe, though. Now, since over 60% of the watch time comes from unsubscribed viewers, I'm gonna need you to subscribe. You can also sign up for his Patreon or send him money in PayPal. Links in the description. Now, on to the video.
Alright, we'll go overhead view for the most part here again because they're not very big and we need to compare the wireless to the wired. Totally got that one backwards, didn't I? Alright, anyway, so the wireless version here is what Koss originally reached out to me to review, and I said, you know what, I almost am embarrassed by this, but I haven't had a chance to hear the old wired version. Can you send me those too so that I can compare them and see what is similar or different? And they very happily oblige. So you might be saying, finally I get to the KPH30i. Those are only one of the legends of Koss in our hobby here, because along with the PortaPro and the KSC75, it's like they kind of form like this holy trinity almost of budget, like earphone kind of things in there that are, again, they are just like legendary status in our hobby, and rightly so. All right, so let's dive in here. I'm not going to spend a ton of time on the build of the the KPH30i. This is the clear variant. There are other finishes, colors and finishes that come with it. But just to like kind of go into it here, where you've got the headband with this sort of suspension strap like thing, and then the head size adjustment is this kind of clicky, okay, sliding deal right there. And then, of course, it is wired. It has an attached cable, which we should basically expect for $30. All right, we have like this inline microphone and volume control deal here. Okay, and then the stock cable terminates in this 3.5 millimeter TRRS connector, and it's not balanced, it's TRRS because you've got to have right, left, or left, right, I forget which is which, then return for both, and then you've got microphone and mic return on there, so that's why it has 4 electrical contacts on it. This kind of spring-loaded strain relief here is a nice touch, though I think a lot of people will want to use this in somewhat mobile situations. It may have been nice to have a right angle connector here. But, I mean, minor quibble for $30, well-built, comfortable, and all of that. And yeah, the KPH30i, it does sound as good as everyone says it is. Is it a perfect sounding earphone? Of course not. Okay, but for $30, you're going to be hard-pressed to find a more well-extended, smoother, and detailed sound in there. It's more neutral than it isn't, maybe just a hint of elevated, like mid-bass punch to it, but not really to make it warm. Maybe just a slight, really top-end air kind of roll-off to it. Okay, and the tonal balance in the treble is just a little bit thin. It does get a little bit tizzy at times, but it avoids sounding sharp or sibilant or anything of that nature way up there. So, I mean, I don't feel the need to say a whole lot more about this one just because it is so well known and it's cheap. If you want to know what it sounds like, it's $30. Go find out. Okay, all right. The wireless version here is where things get a little bit more interesting, and they sent me two of them. This beige color right here, and then also this gray color right here. And my partner has been using the gray ones here. She takes them running. She was using some SandSound Sandwear in-ear monitors, true wireless in-ear monitors, and she found that as she was running, that the constant and repetitive, contact, impact of running was jarring those IEMs loose eventually, and she kept worrying about dropping them. And so I'm like, you know what, I just got these in. Why don't you try using one of these cheap on-ears? And she did like them really well for running. She says they stayed on her head very well for that application. So if you're a jogger, okay, that might be something to look into here. She had some other comments on that, like she said they don't sound as good as those SandSound Sandwears, which we shouldn't expect them to given the price, and she's correct about that. Okay, but she said for if you're a jogger and all that, these work really well. They stay on the head well, and then because they're semi-open, you can hear like traffic and that kind of stuff around you too, so you don't get hit by a car or a bicyclist or something like that. Okay. All right, these things, which, did that just, yeah, it's blinking at me. I left it on. Let's go ahead and turn that off, and hopefully it doesn't mess up my recording. Okay, so, the wireless version. Let's just get into the build. First of all, you've got the suspension strap thing there, and you have basically identical kind of adjustment on the head strap there. And it looks more or less like the headbands are basically of identical thickness and pretty close to each other in construction. I can't tell if the beige is actually bigger or thicker there. It's just an optical illusion because of a clear finish on the other. But you can tell that they are very close to each other in the way that they are done. What you can see fairly clearly, though, is the construction on the ear cups is just a little bit different, right? The wireless version here is just a little bit bigger, and it's also thicker, okay? You can see that they needed a little bit more space to make sure that they had a Bluetooth receiver in there, an digital to analog conversion, an amplifier, places to plug in for charging, which you see here, and then also you've got play, pause, and volume up, down here. Okay, on these buttons here. So they just needed a little bit more physical space to do that. Okay. Other than that, though, and they are just a little bit heavier than the wired version, okay, because of all of that extra stuff that they have in there. Like, is it very heavy? No, not at all. It's still pretty light, feels good on the head and all of that. Like, even with my glasses, the amount of clamp force here was pretty decent. I didn't get some discomfort around my ears very much or anything like that because these were pushing on the side of my head and so forth. Okay, that works pretty well. Good, like for the price, like it's $60 for this. Like you get pretty good build quality, pretty good comfort. Okay, so on and so forth. Let's run through some test gear here real quick. Then I have an ergonomic little quirk to talk about, and then we'll get into a little bit more of the sound. Okay, the wireless version here, basically I just connected to my phone, which is a Samsung Galaxy S22 Plus, and I used the Rune Arc app to listen to music that way. It started out as lossless high-res or FLAC files, lossless or high-res FLAC files and DSD files locally, or in the case of FLAC files streamed from Koss. But because of Bluetooth and all of that, and again, I think there's only basic Bluetooth codecs on here. I don't think there's the option for LDAC or any of that fancy stuff. I think it's just normal, like regular SBC codec in there. All right, that I could see, at least that I could easily access from my phone, which is fine. It's fine. Okay. All right. So, yeah, that was a source there. Then I also used the Spotify app a little bit for like podcasting and things of that nature while I was out walking the dog or whatever and so forth. Took these to the gym, worked out with them. So yeah, Koss, you don't want either of these back because I worked out with these at the gym and got all sweaty. She's been using them for running, got all, yeah, so you don't want to mess with that. All right. So anyway, the ergonomic quirk that I want to talk about here is in the Bluetooth connection. The Bluetooth connection is stable. I did not have any interruptions in Bluetooth contact, okay, between my headset and this phone that's doing the filming, and she never complained about any with her headset, and she also has a Samsung Galaxy. It's more recent. I forget exactly what number she has. It's a little bit more recent than mine, though. Okay, and so in terms of stability of connection, never noticed any odd dropouts, never had any problem with that, no extra noise or anything like that. Pairing is pretty easy, pretty quick, so on and so forth. Okay, battery life also pretty decent between the two and all of that. Like I never really heard her complain about getting into battery life. I never had any issues, and like I could use them for several hours before I needed to charge them up again. I don't think that's going to be an issue for most people. The thing that could be an issue for some is that the headsets and the phones, in both cases, she complained about this on her unit, and I noticed the same thing on mine, is that they kind of get in an argument over which one should be controlling the volume, at least at first. Okay, like, so whether it be Spotify, and it happened to her on Spotify, it happened to me on both Spotify and the Rune Arc apps. There are times where you put these on and like get everything going, like turn the Bluetooth on and all that, and then you hit play on music, and it is just like maximum volume, just really loud right out of the gate. Now, these don't get super duper loud to begin with, so it's not going to be like make you go deaf levels or anything like that, but it can be mildly uncomfortable with how loud that it is for a lot of people out there. Okay, and then like it can't immediately change the volume. If you try to use your phone, nothing happens. If you hit these buttons to go up or down, nothing happens. Then you can like close the app or minimize the music app, open it up again, and now everything is working. But now you've turned your phone volume down so low that like you barely hear anything out of this, but then you could also control from here or the phone. So that did not happen every time. It seems like there might be a combination of things like order that you open up and connect things to get them to talk to each other that might make that happen. But I was never able to put my finger on exactly like what order of things did make that happen. So that's just one of those like mild annoyances, minor inconvenience kind of things, because like after you get through all that, you can use these buttons here for volume control. They work fine, but they also, or you can use the buttons on your phone to control volume. That works fine too. Okay, by the way, these do adjust the volume on your phone. Like if you hit volume up or down on them and like hold the phone in front of you, you can like see the volume change thing here if you have it open on there. So it's not like they have independent volume control in there. All right, so that's just a quirk to be aware of, and hopefully Koss can iron that out in future generations here. For $60, I don't think that's a deal breaker. Your mileage may vary. The sound. Do they sound like the KPH30i? Mostly, yes. I listened to that wired version here through my Asus ZenBook laptop computer. It's a Windows 11 laptop, and I had to make sure that like Dolby headphone was off and like all of the sound processing fanciness that Windows 11 does when you plug a headphone in, all that. Just make sure all of that was off. And once I got that off here, then I had this connected to my phone via Rune Arc app, and then I had the Rune remote app open on my laptop, allowing it to play through the system output and then just power these right off the laptop here. And you can definitely tell that they deserve the same name. Like the overall sonic character is pretty close to each other. The overall tuning, mostly neutral, maybe just a touch of added mid-bass energy above neutral, maybe just a little bit of roll-off in the very highest frequencies, but not to the point where these would really consider warm. They're more of like a neutral kind of sound to them. I thought that the sub-bass presence was a little bit more forward, a little bit more potent on the wired version, and I thought that the clarity of the wireless version was actually just a little bit higher. They just sounded just a little bit clearer and cleaner in its sound, which surprised me a little bit. So a little bit of trade-off there. These are very, very minor differences, though. To the main question of did Koss successfully port the sound of the KPH30i wired series into their wireless version? Yeah, I think by and large they hit that. Okay, not exactly the same. little minor changes around the edges on things, okay? But generally the same. So do I recommend the KPH30i wireless? If you need just like a cheap kicking around kind of headset here that sounds decent, or you just want to use it for podcasting and all that, if you need the semi-open nature so you can still kind of hear what's going on around you, knowing that of course it will leak some, okay, and so forth, then yeah, for $60 this is kind of a no-brainer here, even with that volume control issue in there that I mentioned. I have enjoyed using them. They are pretty effective at what they do, and they sound a lot better than they should for $60. They really do. Okay, so I'm gonna go ahead and leave it there. Yeah, give the Koss KPH30i wireless a chance, and if you haven't heard the wired version, it's $30, people. Check it out. Okay. I'm Wave Theory. Thanks for watching. Please remember to like, subscribe, comment, check out my PayPal, my Patreon. Generally do those things you do to support YouTube channels, including joining my channel as a channel member. That is an option now where you can have the option to watch my review videos early and talk to me on Discord. Okay, see the details when you try to join there. All right, everyone. Thanks for watching and enjoy the music.